Hey, I like doing these things, right? Like I like doing these little impromptu shows. Today I was feeling under the weather, so I was like, "Hey, why not go ahead and do one of these little shows and see if you can't, you know, just talk to some people, have a good time, talk about some video games, things like that." I think that's important in life is just to kind of have fun and shoot from the hip once in a while. A lot of people have said that they enjoy these type of videos that I do for the simple fact that you know uh, I can shoot from the hip more. I have a longer time to explain what I'm talking about. When I do the other videos, I'm also uploading 1080p footage, and as you guys know, I don't have the best internet, so it's one of those situations where I can really express what I'm wanting to talk about, and that's something that I really enjoy doing. And some of you guys seem to really enjoy hearing that. So here I am. If you're just joining me, please like, share. If you haven't subscribed or hit the bell, please do that as well because that's really critical to YouTube these days. So I get this a lot too. I am a video gamer. And I'm going to jump into what I want to talk about as more people join, but I just kind of wanted to get something off my chest and straightened out real quick. I'm a gamer. I prefer Xbox. I preferred Xbox since the original Xbox came out. Reason being was I was a big online gamer. I was playing NFL 2K games, and Xbox Live was just the way to go. You weren't matched up with people on dial up. And it was just they had servers and like the chat was there and everybody was talking. And it was just like a really cool thing, right? And then obviously the 360 came out, and Gears of War, and there was just so many great games and so many great memories. I really was bitter at the PS3 because it was so expensive and I didn't really play it for the first few years. Then it really came on into its own. Of course, multi-plats were better played on the 360 because the PS3 was hard to kind of develop for, and we saw a lot of disparity going on there. And then the Xbox One came out, and we kind of got left behind as gamers. And early on, it started great, man. We had the exclusives. We had, they were promising us a lot of stuff, but right away, you kind of scratched your head at kind of being forced to buy a Kinect. The higher price for a less powerful console. They did leave you with a little bit to be desired. And while I've enjoyed a lot of games this generation, the longer the generation has gone on and the more chance you've got to play other games. And I'm not even talking about powerful games on a powerful console. You play some of that stuff on Switch even, and those games are just phenomenally polished and really well done because as the generation goes along, traditionally games get better and better. And on Microsoft's side, that really hasn't happened. We've had some fun games, no doubt. Right. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, I didn't have a good time with this game or that game because, fun is fun. And I've had a lot of fun with some of their games, but it just wasn't any epic experiences like what I've had in the past with Microsoft. And so a lot of people go, well, crap, what are you going to do next gen? Well, here's the thing. I consider myself almost a free agent. I always end up with everything, but I would be lying if I didn't say I was not very intrigued with the idea of the PlayStation 5 right now, a little bit more than the next Xbox. Let me clarify why. Right? Not that I'm going to not get an Xbox. It depends on what Microsoft does with forward compatibility. If I can still play next gen, quote unquote, games on my Xbox One X, and that thing's less than 2 years old right now, be only 3 years old by the time the next Xbox comes out, then I don't see why I would jump to that, especially if the next group of games or exclusives are further away than say 2020. So what I'm saying is if I can play Forza Motorsport 8 on my Xbox One X and Halo Infinite on my Xbox One X and the Ninja Theory game on my Xbox One X, and I know I can play the next Gears on my Xbox One X, then I would definitely probably do that. Microsoft has this way about them where, and here, let me get something off my chest a little bit more that some people aren't going to like. And please just bear with me. I do like Xbox. I like some of what they're doing. I can do a video about something that I'm very impressed about, right? Like that leak that came out that I did a video about yesterday, right? Where it's actually going to take a lot of strain off of what they have to do with their GPU and CPU, having something built in that can handle some of these effects and things like that. And I thought that was really kick ass. And so I did a video on it, right? So just because I'm critical of Xbox in one aspect doesn't mean I hate Xbox or I'm abandoning an Xbox in any way, shape, or form. My most anticipated game is Gears 5 this year. So that should tell you everything you need to know. When it comes to PlayStation, I'll explain why I'm very, very interested in PlayStation. Reason why I'm very interested in PlayStation is because they are going more traditional. Yes, I'm not talking about streaming. Okay. I get that streaming is going to be a thing for all of these platforms as an option, and that's fine, right? That's fine. I get that it's completely going to happen, and and that's fine. I get that, but I don't think they're going to take that same hard road that Microsoft has taken with the streaming aspect, right? They're not going to really shove it down your throats. And even if, for me personally, I think that it's one of those situations where um, Microsoft is real confusing, and Sony just tends to be like, here it is. If you want, you can use it. And I think that's the biggest thing. And also, Microsoft seems to like have these grand illusions, right? And I guess you got to think big, right? Dream big or whatever they say. And they certainly are dreaming big. And I have to say this, even as a Microsoft fan, this entire generation, Microsoft are so full of themselves for a company that has released mediocre games this entire generation, right? Oh, 2 billion gamers. We're going to reach 2 billion gamers, right? So that's the number they keep throwing out. Well, I don't know if those 2 billion gamers really want to have anything to do with you, Microsoft, since you've really kind of dropped the ball this entire generation. And yet you want everybody to just fall in line and believe that you're going to have all this magical stuff ready to go, right? Like, I don't know if that works. Now, if you would have built up a big fan base and amazing games this generation like you should have, then I think maybe you would have been on to something and you've been playing with fire. But for me personally, I just find them trying to bite off a little bit more they can chew. And not only that, ignoring a lot of what I consider to be their hardcore fans in the process. And I know some of you might not agree with that. Like I said, I don't, it's fine. It's opinions. Hopefully people don't hate me over an opinion, because I think that's ridiculous. I would never hate on anybody else's opinion. We all are just humans, and we all, have these opinions, and we can change our opinions and things like that. Sony going very, very traditional with their console though, right? They're going to have a PS5, just one SKU, not 10 SKUs, right? I mean, I think that's going to be very critical to getting the masses on board. The reason why is because you're going to want to be able to get people onto your platform and not confuse the hell out of them, right? Like, I was having a good talk with, you guys know who Brad Sams is, right? Insider, journalist, good guy. I had him on the show not too long ago. Had him on my show, Xbox Nation, right? And not only was he on Xbox Nation, but he also, what we were talking about was, he thinks that Microsoft should market the next Xbox as certain things, right? So basically what he's talking about is he wants to see them market the Xbox Anaconda, which is the more powerful one, as a 4K 60 machine, and the Xbox Lockhart, which is the lesser machine. He wants them to market that sort of as a 1080p 60 machine, right? And I replied to him on Twitter. I was like, well, isn't that what the X can do already if they wanted to, right? The thing that's held back the X in getting a lot of those 1080 60 titles is the fact that they have to share games and a game space with titles that are maybe 30 frames per second online, and the developers don't want to do that, right? Meaning, if you look at a game like let's just say Destiny 2. I hate Destiny 2, but it's 30 frames per second on every platform except PC. Now, what we did was we saw that Eurogamer said this game could definitely run 1080p 60 on the Xbox One X and really not lose anything visually. So the reason why they didn't put it at 60 is simply because it would have been an unfair advantage to have people on an X running at 60 and people running on the majority of everything else at 30, and they didn't find it fair. So I get that. So what would make it fair for the next generation to do the same thing, right? So what I'm just saying is Microsoft has already been advertising 4K nonstop for the last 2 years, right? 4K this, 4K that. And then they would take a step back and advertise a 1080p 60 machine. Isn't that what we were supposed to have this generation anyway? Like, isn't that what the Xbox One and the PS4 were advertised as? Like 1080p 60. Get ready to hear that a lot, folks. And most of the games are 60 online anyway. I don't know about 1080p, especially on the original Xbox One, but I don't know if that's something that they should actually do. I actually think that the Lockhart should be more in line with what the PS5 is in terms of power, which I think is going to be a lot of dynamic 4K 60. And that's just my personal opinion. I don't know. I think Brad's a good guy, but I'm just not sure that I buy them advertising something as a 1080 60 machine. I think that can be confusing, and it really muddles the message of what they've been doing, because they've been pushing 4K narrative with the X, and then you kind of go back on that with the Lockhart supposedly possibly being a console that can only do 1080p 60. So again, with that whole confusing aspect, and as everybody's pulling in, what's up, how you guys doing, please hit the like button, share it out, I really do appreciate it. It really does mean a lot when you guys check out the stuff. So just what I'm saying is, it's sort of, hey, TLR9, appreciate you coming out, buddy. Please like it and share it and all that kind of stuff. Here's the thing, right? I have no next stock. I have no problem with those guys you mentioned, right? Like, we all have our opinions and thoughts on these things. For me personally, I'm mostly just a gamer on Xbox. Like, I will game on PlayStation and Switch, but mostly it's just Xbox. And I love my Xbox One X. I think it's great. I think the Xbox Anaconda is going to be like this super powerful console. I also probably am one of the few people that think it's actually going to be $599 US. So yeah, I'm that guy. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy, but if you actually believe what we're seeing and things like that, Microsoft doesn't particularly care if you buy their consoles, right? Because they're assuming that people are going to play their games on, they're assuming people are going to play their games on phones, tablets, PC, whatever else they can put these things on, right? So if you buy their console, I have not seen anything from them to really indicate that they would really care one way or the other if you actually are buying their console. So with that being said, I don't see them not pricing. I don't see them really caring if they price a 4K 60 machine, which would be reasonable, $599. If you look at a PC, I'm not sure how much it would cost to get a PC to do 4K 60 on most things, but I'm assuming it's going to be more than $599, right? So since they won't care if who's buying it anyway, why not put it out there as the super hardcore option for those that want to play third-party multiplats the best and their exclusives the best, right? That's something that I think we would probably see. Now, on the other side, they would have a cheaper Lockhart for those that just want more of a kind of experience for those games. And then there's the whole muddled situation with, are we actually going to have, a next gen or forward compatibility what we have now? If we don't, then yeah, I think that's going to sell some consoles probably. If we do, I don't know who would probably rush out to go buy these games, these consoles right away, or especially the Xbox, because we know the PlayStation 5 is going to be strictly, PlayStation games. You're going to need that for PlayStation 5 games, meaning you're not going to be able to play PlayStation 5 games on the PlayStation 4. And I think that's the way most of us kind of look at these things to begin with is, hey, we've kind of got this kind of thing. So, well, why 9 power? I don't know. Dude, I think that, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with anybody. Like, as long as people, as long as people kind of keep their cool and don't get personal, man, I'm cool with people of all gaming natures. Like, that's just my nature. I'm a very kind of laid back kind of person. I'm excited about the next PlayStation, like I said, and the next Xbox. The next PlayStation is very intriguing to me because, like I said, you're getting one SKU from everything we've seen. They might not even do a mid-gen upgrade. They just might do something that does 4K 60. It's going to be backwards compatible. There's a rumor that it's going to be backwards compatible with PS4, PS3, PS2, and PS1, which, holy cow, that's an incredible library. And if it lets you play your physical games backwards compatible by emulation or something, holy crap, that's a win for them, because I've got a buttload of PS1, PS2, PS3, and PS4 games ready to go. Same thing with Xbox. Like, that's one of the things I like about Xbox is you could just play them, and I think that's cool. So I like VR a lot too, and it looks like Sony's the only one that's going to do that next gen. Well, realistically, they're the only ones that are going to do that. And then when you see Microsoft, they're going to be doing a very powerful system, so that has me interested. But again, I think it's going to come down to a lot of the time is the content, and that's what I'm most interested in. And there needs to be some kind of specific reason why I should buy these consoles. So, yeah, exactly, Shady. Just keep it, no hate, no personal stuff, and everybody's opinion is welcome here, man. I'll talk to anybody. So, I get it, man. I'm not the most liked guy. People think I'm one thing or the other. I just tend to think I'm just old school, and and I feel like, especially where I'm from, which this place was built on capitalism. You need to have competition, and what we're seeing is the competition dying down because Microsoft is kind of going in a different direction, and that's the thing that kind of bugs me as a fan. That I have not been a huge fan of is the fact that they've been out there sort of killing their own brand a bit by spreading themselves too thin. So basically, what I mean is they've realistically sort of made themselves less relevant, and they're kind of cheapened Xbox, right? Um, and when I say that is, how are we going to get these truly innovative games that take advantage of the hardware that we get if these games also have to run on lesser hardware too? I think there's too many variables in there, and I know that like PC does that, but there is a cutoff point. So there's a lot of questions to be asked, and so Microsoft is going to be allowing Xbox Live on iOS and Android. What does Xbox mean anymore to you guys? Like, to me, I find that to be very interesting. Obviously, they're trying to do one thing, and like I said, I am 100% sure that PlayStation is going to do mobile gaming and streaming as well with PlayStation Now this next generation. Probably day and date with some of the new stuff. I don't know about if that's going to happen next generation or not, but I would assume that those games get in there much quicker than they have in the past. So, I really do believe that that's what we're heading for. But I also believe that Microsoft is heading for something totally different. I think Microsoft literally wants to be a third-party developer, but they still want to have their console because the console is also paying a lot of the bills, being that we are the only ones paying $60 a year for Xbox Live. And until they end that, I feel like we're the ones that are kind of getting screwed over. And that's something that really kind of pisses me off as well, right? So one of the only reasons I think they're keeping up with any kind of hardware or the continuation of making hardware is due to that fact. And that's a bit of a bummer for me. I really wish that Microsoft would have sort of, come out and given us all something that we why not make Xbox Live free, right? That you talk about barriers and no barriers and all this kind of stuff, but we're the only ones with that barrier, and I don't really see Microsoft as being that company that's going to put their games on the Google platform, right? Because everybody knows that they're in kind of competition with Google and Amazon, and I truly believe that they're in competition with Sony as well, but I think they also want to work with Sony, and they believe there can be some kind of mutual benefit there by having Xbox Live on PlayStation, which I don't get that at all. Like, to me, why would you even have that is a thing? The Finest says, "Crap, what do you think about Xbox Live on Android and iOS games?" I think that helps Microsoft's bottom dollar, but I don't think that it helps Xbox gamers in the least. If you look at what Microsoft is doing, I'm not sure how that helps. I guess if you're the type of person that plays, these type of games like on the go or whatever, then I think you'd be okay with it. But for me personally, I don't play anything. I think it cheapens Xbox. I think it makes it like this weird thing. It's not what I come to know Xbox as, right? And some people are fine with that, and I can understand that, right? Microsoft will probably make some money. They've been making money, right? So it's not like they're in dire need of anything. I think as far as the console goes, that thing's kind of tanking, but I think that they are making money off of software and Xbox Live and those type of things. And I think as long as they're doing that, they'll continue to stay afloat and offer people those type of things. Thanks, Rumple. I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate the donation there. So I did want to talk about that because that is the main reason I am doing this video. So Microsoft, and I linked this. You guys can check it out. Xbox Live for any iOS or Android game. Also, they announced that they want to put Xbox Live on PS4 or Switch. but they have nothing to announce about that at this particular time. They have a new cross-platform mobile software development kit for game developers to bring Xbox Live to games that run on iOS and Android. It features achievements, stats, friends list, clubs, and even the family settings that we've come to know on our current Xbox Ones. It's all part of this big push from Microsoft to make the Xbox games and services available across all platforms. Now, game developers will be able to pick and choose parts of Xbox Live to integrate into their games, and it will be enabled through a single sign-in to a Microsoft account. So sort of like an Epic Games account, I guess, with like Fortnite. I'm not sure about like how progression and stuff will work like that, but they're using an identity network to support login for safety and things like that. So this is what they had to say about it. We believe so strongly in community and Xbox Live really being at the heart of our gaming community. So this is Kareem Chaudhry. He's the guy that said Xbox One X, it's a monster, and he's heading up the Project X Cloud thing. So he says, we believe so strongly in community and Xbox Live really being at the heart of our gaming community. Microsoft's gaming cloud chief said, if you watch what we've done, especially with Minecraft over the past few years, we've taken Xbox Live to as many platforms as Minecraft is on as possible, really uniting all those communities together with a consistent singular experience for those games. Microsoft wants game developers to take a similar Minecraft approach and bring Xbox Live to more mobile games. Some iOS and Android games already have Xbox Live achievements, but they're only enabled in titles from Microsoft Studios at the moment, and the new SDK will open up functionality to many more games. So here's the problem I automatically have with this, right? So basically, they're opening up Xbox Live for everybody with all the features that we get, but these features, a lot of the features that they're getting are free for them, and we pay money for this, right? So we pay $60 a year while they get to sort of utilize the online and the multiplayer and all this stuff for free. And I think that's one of my main problems with this. If they were to just kind of kill off the paywall, I think it would be really beneficial to the fans and give us a little bit of something, right? Because I can't be the only one, right? I cannot be the only one. That said, hey, Microsoft is totally almost ignoring the Xbox console itself lately, right? Like you do the Inside Xbox and they start off with PC announcements. They do that terrible xCloud show. They shove a bunch of other BS down our throats. I can't be the only one thinking, show some love to the Xbox platform itself, right? Last few exclusives, and I've gone over this multiple times. I sound like a broken record. Last few exclusives that Microsoft has really even announced were Minecraft Dungeons exclusive to PC, Gears of War Tactics exclusive to PC, even though those might come to Xbox, who knows, and also Age of Empires exclusive to PC. So they're showing PC tons of love, and the Xbox platform, what do we get? When we keep hearing developers talk about their games like his Halo Infinite and Gears of War 5, what do the developers say? We're building these games from the ground up for PC. Okay. So you're building them from the ground up for PC. What about us Xbox folk? I know we're just some hillbillies, but maybe you might want to consider giving us throwing us a bone as well. Making a game that runs great and that we can believe in as well. So even if you hate me, even if you think, man, Crapgamer is so full of it lately, he's a jerk, man. He's a jerkhead, right? I get it. And some people, I think, dislike me for my opinion, and because you think I'm turning into someone else or that I'm abandoning an Xbox. Xbox is kind of abandoning me. I'm not abandoning Xbox. I'm an Xbox guy, but I want them to at least remember and acknowledge that I exist and that Xbox is relevant. It's almost like an afterthought now because they've got this 2 billion number in their minds that they don't realize that there's this group of fans that have been super supportive even during the entire dark times of nobody really buying the platform and them not giving us any games for years, right? Like we've gotten such little amounts of games that and props to the ones that stick by and I feel bad for you guys too. You know what I mean? Like I'll take the bump on the chin because I'm a little bit more vocal, and there's always going to be people out there that'll be the happy people for you guys, man. And I'm sorry I can't be that. I wish I could be that bullshitter, They could just be like, la 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 la. That's just not me, and I don't mean to be down all the time because I still do positive Xbox videos, and I'm still high on the platform. I love the Xbox One X, man. I think it's fantastic. And to be honest with you, and I've said this multiple times, I don't think much changes in the near future anyway. You're still going to be able to play your games on the next Xbox and stuff like that. I just think that I don't want to be stuck playing against people on PC because there's so few people left on the console, or playing against people on mobile. You know what I mean? I think that it cheapens what we've come to expect from Xbox. And when you put something on everything, obviously it takes more time, and you're not going to be able to hone that game for the platform itself. So what I mean by that is, the Xbox One X, hands down the most powerful console, yet none of the exclusives Microsoft have put out on it, well, hasn't been many, are better looking than, say, God of War or Detroit Become Human or a Spider-Man on the base PS4, right? So base PS4 graphics and are outshining what you could do on this beast of a 4K console, because Microsoft has to put it on the base Xbox One as well. And they're also, it's got to go on PC, it's got to go, now it's got to go on a phone, it's got to go on this, and we got to scale it down. And realistically though, no matter how scaled down you get it, you still have to realize that that's going to take a toll on what we get in terms of next generation. So that sort of bugs me. And I do think that some people feel the same way as me. And if you don't, then at least respect my opinion like I respect yours. I would never go and bash these guys on their opinion because they feel differently than me. You know what I mean? I might disagree with them, but I think that's probably my right and things like that. So, hey, if you guys are just joining me, please hit the like button as I'm going to continue on with this article a little bit and then kind of dive into my thoughts on it. So Kareem had this to say. So basically, if you were hoping to see Xbox Live on the Nintendo Switch, you might have to wait a little longer, because this is what Kareem had to say. Our goal is to really unite here we go, 2 billion gamers of the world, and we're big fans of our Xbox Live community, but we don't have any specific announcements as it relates to Switch today. Xbox Live on PlayStation 4, probably, but not likely. But Microsoft is open to the idea if Sony is willing to allow it. So this is what he had to say about that. If you've watched us the past few years, we've taken a very inclusive approach. Phil Spencer has been very proactive on issues like crossplay, cross-progression, and uniting gamer networks, and we're willing to partner with the industry as much as we possibly can. The new mobile SDK, obviously, is a part of Microsoft's bigger push, and their game stack, which is Azure PlayFab, DirectX, Havoc Engine, Microsoft Azure Mixer, powered by App Center, Visual Studios, Simply Gone, Windows, Xbox Game Studios, Xbox Live. So remember, Microsoft was buying up all these things like Havoc, a PlayFab, obviously Visual Studio, Simply Gone, and it's like everything they're setting up, clearly to me, is them getting a hub to be third-party developers, kind of like a Sega-esque type of situation. And for me personally, I find that to be a little bit disheartening, because I really would much rather see, them do something for us for a change. And again, I don't even care if they're streaming, stream to phone, stream to whatever. I don't even care, man. But stop bringing up PlayStation and Nintendo, because they're not going to do the same thing for you. And eventually, 15, 20 years from now, when it is all just streaming, they can't all have each other's games, or otherwise there's no reason to have 3 different services, and they're all going to need their own content for their own services to differentiate the services. Even the most hard-headed person would have to agree with that, meaning if Xbox has their games on PlayStation services and Nintendo services, what the hell reason would there be to buy into the Xbox services? There would be none. Right? And you're never going to see PlayStation put their games on Xbox or Nintendo, and you're never going to see Nintendo put their games on Xbox or PlayStation. It's just not going to happen. So that realistically means that Microsoft is very content and very much wanting to put their games on other platforms, and it just seems like a matter of time. And it just seems like the only thing really holding it up on PlayStation, or having those games on PlayStation, not even talking about Game Pass, right? Because you're talking about Xbox Live. And of course, Microsoft wants Xbox Live on PlayStation. There's 100 million PlayStation users, right? They stomped the crap out of Xbox this generation. Of course, Microsoft wants those PlayStation gamers, to use Xbox Live. Sony doesn't want that, though. Because, again, and I think it was the Don who I had on a podcast once who said something similar. He goes, you know why they won't? because let's say PlayStation Network is down, guess what? They don't want people to be able to switch on an app and play Xbox Live on their PlayStation because it makes them look bad. And I get that, man. I totally do get that. I can definitely kind of sympathize with that. But at the same time, it's like you don't see um, Nintendo and Sony talking about these things the way that Microsoft does. And if you want to be kumbaya and stuff, I get that. But it just seems like Microsoft is losing a big part of what made them so relevant to the hardcore crowd. And I'm not sure if they'll ever be able to get that back with the way things are going. I hope that they do. I hope that they continue to, do something special. And I hope they come out with really good games. I think they will. And we'll all be able to play these amazing games, no doubt. We're all going to be able to play these games, and we're all going to be able to enjoy these games. And, crossplay, is that going to be a thing next gen? I don't know. I don't know if crossplay is going to be a big thing, but Microsoft sure pushes it. Let's just take this for example. Let's say Microsoft goes out and the Xbox Next just kicks ass right out of the gate, jumps out to a big lead over everything. Will Microsoft still want crossplay at that point, aside from PC, because that's their platform too? But will they be pushing crossplay as hard with PS4 and Switch? I don't know, right? Like, it's hard to really know what Microsoft's ideas are because they're kind of all over the place, right? They're 2 billion gamers, this, that, the other thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, that really kind of confuses me. And I think that that's something that they're going to have to get better at as time goes along. You can't confuse so many people or annoy the people or try to be too big. It's like, I remember, there's some small podcasts or whatever. And this isn't a knock on them at all, because I'm a small podcast too and a small YouTuber. So I'm a dumbass like this too. But there's a lot of people out there who don't have the fan backing, would have a small podcast and then start doing merchandising or start a website, right? Well, if you don't have the backing and the people willing to follow you there, then it's really pointless because nobody's going to use that stuff, right? So what I'm saying is, if Microsoft does not have the fans that are willing to go in and use this, and they haven't won over people, because if you look at the comments, and it could be different online once this stuff is out, but if you look at the comments towards Xbox, there's so much disdain and hate for Xbox. People aren't willing to give them a chance. So, they consider them to be subpar developers. They consider them to put out these games that aren't very good, to really be focused on games as a service only and things that make them money, and kind of greedy. And to the credit, I can't really discredit that, because this generation, they really haven't put out a huge banger that was just, wow, we've got to get an Xbox for that. I mean, the closest one I could think of is Sunset Overdrive, but because it wasn't 1080p, people gave it crap. And also, it wasn't perfect, but, it was as close to a banger as Microsoft has had outside of Titanfall 1, which I thought Microsoft really should have pushed and probably tried to lock down as an exclusive or whatever. But, I think it's one of those situations where it's really, really going to be dependent on how we get these consoles and what they offer. Dude, Jason, he says, stop playing Xbox if you don't like it. Do you not hear what I'm saying? I play Xbox, right? I say I play Xbox. I like Xbox. I'm saying I don't like the idea of them pushing Xbox on PlayStation and Nintendo platforms. I get that they're going to stream stuff, right? But it's like they're shoving the whole PlayStation and Nintendo stuff down our throat as well. And I get that the future is streaming. I'm not debunking that. I'm just saying you're going to need a reason for people to invest in your console next generation and beyond. And that's my thing. That's my worry. That's my complaint, is that they're going to have to be able to do that. And I hope that they actually can give us something unique and something that differentiates Xbox from these other platforms. Because what I saw when I see Halo Master Chief Collection on Steam, which I'm not even saying that's the wrong thing. I'm just saying that Phil looks a little bit like a hypocrite when he says stuff like, we don't want any walls. We heard people saying they want our games on Steam, so here you go. But then damn well they're not going to put Halo Infinite on Steam. They want people to buy that off their own store. So he does see some kind of relevance to exclusivity You know, he doesn't have a problem with putting old ass games on Steam, but he clearly isn't going to put anything new right out the gate on Steam. You know, and that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Also, with the whole Xbox Live stuff, which I've also mentioned like multiple times, I just feel like us as fans kind of get the short end of the stick for the fact that you know, we had to pay for that and we're the only ones. So I am a little bit bummed about that, and I do feel like, you know, Microsoft has come a long way with a lot that they do, but I'm very excited about the power of the next Xbox. I'm not going to lie about that. And I think that this is something that, you know, they're obviously going to have to continue to grow and deliver on. Like, hopefully I don't know, they going to stick with this stuff. I'm not sure. So back to this mobile SDK part. Obviously, they have this Game Stack, which is like developer tools to put Xbox Live on virtually everything. PlayFab is now part of Microsoft's cloud tools and Azure, allowing developers to spin up multiplayer servers for games and matchmaking, voice chat, and services. So again, like, I think voice chat is something locked behind a paywall for us right now on Xbox consoles, but completely free for anybody on mobile or anything else. So Microsoft's most powerful game development tools under more manageable single platform. They're aggressively pursuing its vision of Xbox Game Pass and xCloud game streaming to bring games to devices other than PCs or Xbox consoles. Microsoft demonstrated its xCloud service for the first time this week, promising public trials for streaming Xbox games to iOS, Android, Mac, and PCs later this year. And they're also bringing Minecraft to Xbox Game Pass, blah, 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 which, like, who hasn't already bought Minecraft? I don't even play Minecraft, and I own it. So, yeah, obviously a service that is often described as a Netflix of games. Now, Xbox Game Pass is key to xCloud and Microsoft push for its own games on multiple devices. Obviously, $9.99 a month is a really good deal for that, but we haven't really seen, you know, the new killer app on there yet. I think that people are really going to check that out. Yeah, Gears and Forza Horizon are going to be great games that people check out. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, it's not really going to take off until they get that big AAA app game that people want to try, right? And I think that's when it's really gonna sort of take off and really gonna do a good job. And Microsoft has done a good job of sort of pushing this stuff. If you guys want to save Xbox, it's simple. Don't show any support for streaming or Game Pass. Microsoft will be forced to go back to dedicated hardware support. Dual purpose. Here's the thing where I disagree with you. I feel like if these things don't succeed, they just shut down Xbox, right? Look at Groove Music. Look at the Microsoft Band. Look at Nokia. Look at the Nokia phones, right? This is something that absolutely, you know, Microsoft could potentially do if they're not making a ton of money. So yeah, so we have to sort of take that into account too. And I don't wish these things to fail. That's the thing. You know, I hope that everything does well. I just, you know, for me personally, I want if PS4 and Switch are any indication, consoles should be doing well. Consoles should continue. It proves that consoles are doing well. The only console that's not really doing extremely well is the Xbox One, you know, and it's doing okay. It's just not doing what the 360 was outside of the United States. If you look at the United States or North America, as it were, the 360 and the Xbox One are almost on par, according to some of those recent numbers and things like that. But it's the rest of the world where the Xbox 360 was something like 10 or 12 million ahead of what the Xbox One is today. So you can see, I mean, that's not terrible compared to, you know, especially when you take a look at what really happened with the Xbox this generation in terms of how piss poor they launched. You know what I mean? I'm surprised that it's doing that good, to be honest with you. And I do hope that Microsoft continues to get things rolling in the right direction for the Xbox brand, because I feel like the Xbox brand is a viable brand, but you have to give people something content wise that you can't get anywhere else. You know, I'm sorry. And when I mean anywhere else, I mean other consoles, right? You want to put it on PC. I mean, that's your other platform. I totally get that, but you can't sit there and put it on Nintendo platforms or Microsoft platforms. DJ Singh says, "Crap, how many consoles do you think Microsoft will sell next gen with this Play Anywhere stuff?" I'm on the camp that I think Microsoft is going to sell between 20 and 25 million consoles next gen. And I think that the PlayStation 5 is going to do over 100 million. So I do, and that's just my guess. I'm not a hater. I'm just saying I'm gonna have an next Xbox too, right? Or whatever it is. I'm gonna have that. But I just think that people are gonna look at that as not the it console or the A1 console. Especially since you're gonna be able to play those games from vastly other amount of other devices and things like that. Plus the games themselves, Microsoft really has to show people that they can put out quality content, right? That's the main thing. If they can have quality content and ready for the next box to come out, and I'm not talking about Halo because Halo is going to be good. It just will. Is it going to be something in the 90s anymore? I don't think it's going to be that 90 plus rated game anymore, but I think you're going to get a mid 80s rated game, and I think that's really solid and really good. But I don't think Halo is that game that's going to push consoles anymore, right? Maybe this PC stuff helps reignite Halo, right? Maybe it does. Maybe it's going to do extremely well because I think Halo is a great series. But you need something new. You need that next big thing, and Microsoft hasn't really been able to deliver that. And before they used to be able to get that through third-party stuff, and now it seems like they're not even willing to deliver that in terms of anything. Like they're not willing to spend the money for that. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but I am very, very excited by what the future and the potential does hold for a lot of things in gaming. The PS5 though seems like it's going to be, what is that? Hold on, I just saw a good comment. Even Randall Thor alludes to next gen Xbox selling less than this gen. Well, yeah. I mean, look, you're going to have so many different ways to play Xbox games. It's just obvious that the next Xbox is going to sell really poorly. And I think that, just my opinion, who knows, it could do great. I think it comes down to the games. But again, they could be, but this is 2 years from now, they could be full on third party and just have their own Steam box by then. So I don't really know. That you're going to need something that's going to sell games and it's going to get people, into these games. You know what I mean? And I think that to want to buy it, because as of right now, people, believe it or not, and I know this is not a fanboy thing, go look at some of the Reddit threads and things like that. When the Master Chief Collection was announced for PC, everybody's like, well, I can dump Xbox now. All the Halo games are on PC. I can play them at my leisure. I can play them at 4K, 150 frames or whatever it is. And it does really take away from the console. Like, it might not take away a huge percent, but to say that it doesn't take away maybe 10% or more, I think that people are lying to themselves if they don't say that that's happening. Is Xbox, the console, in danger of shutting down? I don't think so. I think that they're going to continue to make money, and so they'll continue to make hardware. Like I said, it all comes down to them making money off of the Xbox Live subscriptions, right? As long as they're making that $3 billion annually off of our money, right, to give us, those indie games, which I don't even care. It's not even worth complaining about the games that they give you anymore, because to be honest with you, a lot of times they're games that I don't have or whatever, because they're the smaller games and I don't really care about those. And sometimes you can find something of a hidden gem in there. Would I like AAA games for you guys, those that don't buy everything, like the AAA stuff like me? Yeah, I absolutely wish they would do that for you guys, right? But like every time they have a AAA game, I already have it. So it kind of is what it is. I really do wish that Microsoft would put a little bit more focus on the console itself, because I feel like it's not a focus to them hardly at all anymore. And, like that Inside Xbox kind of proved that. And I'm just hoping that for big things at E3, and what I mean by big things is I want them to be able to deliver for us for us Xbox dudes to have something to be proud of again, and not have to go, oh, well, that's cool, but everybody else and their mother can play it too. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. A lot of people will give you hate for that, right? Oh man, you're pissed off because other people get to play your game. Well, yeah, I'm not a big socialist. What's mine is mine. What's yours is yours. There's reasons, there's capitalism, there's reasons to buy each and everything. Are you going to buy Dish Network, or are you going to buy DirecTV? Well, DirecTV has NFL Network. That's a huge exclusive thing. To me, content is king. You've got to have good stuff. If everything that was on Netflix was also available on Hulu, it cheapens Netflix. It makes it not as relevant. There's a reason why Disney streaming is pulling all their content from Netflix, because they want it on their own as their own exclusive content. You've got to have exclusive content, and it gets murky. Trust me, it gets incredibly murky to sit there, to sit there and sort of go, well, you can't really compare digital media or like movies and to entertainment to games, and that's sort of true, right? So a lot of people will try to throw up and bring something up to sort of break what I'm saying. I'm just saying, in general, you have a console, you have a piece of hardware you're trying to sell, right? And you have games that you're trying to sell. If you sell your console, you can still do some of this other stuff, but you can also have a focus and keep your console owners happy, right? I think that that's something that everybody would be extremely excited about. So for me personally, anyway, that's what I'm talking about. If you guys are just joining me, please do me a big favor, like this video, share it out. I'm going to take some questions in the chat before it's all over with and done and stuff like that. But was it a surprise to you guys that Microsoft openly say they want Xbox Live on PlayStation? Like, we knew the Switch thing, right? But PlayStation as well? Really? I mean, that's that to me kind of took me by surprise, and I got to say, a little bit shocked. Really, really a little bit shocked to sort of hear that just outright like that, like not even behind the scenes stuff, but oh yeah, PlayStation. Like, to me that was a little bit oh, what was that? I saw something that I disagree with in the chat. Let me see it. Xbox Maverick is going to sell a lot. D'Angelo Parker. Explain, D'Angelo Parker. Xbox Maverick is going to sell a lot, you think? I can tell you exactly why it won't sell a lot. You want me to tell you why Xbox Maverick won't sell a lot? You want to know what Xbox Maverick is, you guys? It's supposedly this Xbox One S that's all digital, the SAT edition, the Xbox One SAT edition. So here's the thing. We don't know enough about this, right? But check this out. If this Xbox Maverick is only available at, let's say, at Microsoft Store, right? So remember, Microsoft made this big deal, and a lot of YouTubers did too, about this thing that Microsoft was doing, where if you went to a Microsoft store, you could like basically rent to own an Xbox One X for like $38 a month or whatever it was, right? Pretty good deal. You also got 2 years of Game Pass, 2 years of Xbox Live, sort of. You pay for the live service, basically you get the Xbox or whatever. So and everybody's like, wow, this is huge. I even thought it was huge. Then it turns out it was just at Microsoft stores. What is there, like 10 Microsoft stores in the world? Like, it's just not a big deal. If this Maverick thing is only a Microsoft store thing, it's not a big deal. And I don't see GameStop carrying this console that says, okay, you bring me your physical games and I'm going to give you a digital code, right? Because it's basically a limp saying you're never going to see these people again because they're going digital, but you're going to take their physical games, right? I don't see that happening. So what retailers in their right mind would stock this thing, right? I don't see that happening. I'm sorry. So I don't see that, especially with new consoles coming next year. Why would anybody buy an S with no digital drive, especially when you take into account that the Xbox One right now in February had its lowest month in the history of this generation in sales, with 54,000 units sold. And that's coming off of only 104,000 the previous month. So in the last 2 months, the Xbox One has sold a grand total of 158,000. That's not a lot of consoles, right? 54,000 is like Wii U numbers. And I think that, it's a slow time for consoles, obviously. But still, you had Crackdown. You had tons of games coming out. Resident Evil 2 remake, Kingdom Hearts. So you sell so few consoles, right? and a digital only console S is going to sell a ton. You know what I mean? Well, dude, GameStop sold the PSP Go crap. That's all digital. You're talking about like a little handheld years ago, though, not something like what we're seeing now with this, like not like a full on box. I think that I get that they sell um they sell digital codes, but nobody. And why would you even go to a GameStop to buy a digital code, right? You could just go to Amazon or whatever and just get one delivered to your email that day. You don't even got to drive anywhere. So obviously, I mean, I don't really see them as being the type to say, hey, we're going to sell this box and also trade us in your games and we're going to give you the digital thing. I think if this is a thing, if this does really see the light of day, we're going to end up having a situation where I wouldn't doubt it if it's only in Microsoft stores. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to go and trade in your physical games at GameStop or Walmart or Best Buy, or obviously if you buy stuff online or whatever. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. I think that that's people kind of wishful thinking. A lot of people go to GameStop, dude. I think that it's like one of the. I know people like to hate on GameStop, but do you guys really want to live in a world where us as gamers don't have a dedicated store anymore to go to? Like, were we cheering the end of GameStop? Like, to me, that's asinine. I don't use GameStop a lot, but it's still fun to go in there. It's like, check things out. It's like this generation is killing off so many different things that were amazing. And I don't like that, like I like the option of going in there. See, we all go options. We're getting options. We're getting options. But then at the end of the day, those options are killing off the original thing that they're intended to kill off. And what I mean by that is the whole idea for a option for a diskless console is so that eventually that the consoles won't have a disk drive. They're getting you used to that. They're playing us, right? They're playing us. And I think that that's one of those things that a lot of people don't realize until it's too late, right? Like they're getting us ready for what they want, okay? And whether you like that or not, I don't know. Like we're us um uh as fans or whatever, us as gamers. Sometimes we're sort of stuck in our ways. But at the same time, it's like we've gotta be woke a little bit and say, hey, this is obviously what's going on. We're the ones that they're supposed to cater to. So just because we're all sunk in this whole woe is us, this is the way it's got to be. If you don't want streaming, then it doesn't got to be that way, right? If you don't want that future, then it doesn't got to be the future. Obviously, the Xbox One had an idea in 2013 for TV, 24-hour check-ins, never owning your games, can't, whatever the hell they were planning on doing. People stood up and said, no, I don't want that, damn it. And you know what? Microsoft had to bow to those wishes, right? Exactly. We are the consumers. We pick, not them. We do. We pick what we want. And I think that the more people start to realize that and stop being sheep, the better everything will be, right? I'm all for competition, man. I love competition, man. Give me more competition. Google wants in. Hey, throw your hat in the ring. Amazon wants in. Throw your hat in the ring. Bring it. Bring some exclusive content. Maybe I'll buy your box too. Step right up, step right up. We're all buying some boxes. We're buying games. We're buying boxes. We're buying all kinds of things. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about for me anyway. I want the competition. I want people competing against each other, and I want people to want to lure me by offering me things, right? Look, there's a new rumor. Sony going to offer wireless PlayStation VR with the new patent next generation on the PS5. Boom. You sold me right there, PlayStation. You're giving me something unique. Why? Because Microsoft isn't going to offer that. Why? Because Microsoft is all about growing the industry where they want to grow it and not taking a chance on something as insignificant as that, because they want 2 billion gamers. So screw 2 million gamers, right? Like, who cares about that? And that's sort of like the problem that I have with what Microsoft does. And hopefully they will start to, I don't know about like change their ways, but maybe listen a little bit, like, come on, give us a little bit of something. So, but yeah, I agree. Every VR is going to be wireless, but Microsoft isn't interested in VR. So, hey, can we get to 100 likes? I would really appreciate it. I'm just saying, I'm not going to be the one to type of cheer the end of a store or the end of competition, right? So I like the fact that, you know, Microsoft offers, and I said this, what did I said this the other day, and I'll probably argue this on Crossfire. Who the hell knows is going to be on Crossfire tonight? But I'm sure I'll argue with them because I feel a certain way about it, and it's very testy subject for me, right? And I talk about games, and so this just tends to happen. But I buy Xboxes for their exclusives and their online, right? Because their exclusives tend to be more online focused. Halo, Gears, Forza, Killer, all that kind of stuff. Online focus, even Crackdown, I guess, is kind of online focus now. I buy PlayStation because they put out these amazing single player bangers, right? And same thing with Nintendo. Nintendo does their own thing. They have their own type of, and so that's why I really like Nintendo too, because they sort of do their own thing. And I like that these three things offer three separate things to me, right? And I love that. Like, that's what competition's all about. Microsoft will do something and Sony has to respond. Sony does something, Microsoft has to respond. That's the way of the world. Man, my competition in dog training does something, maybe runs a special. I have to respond and run a special. I can't be left out in the cold. That's the way of the world, man. It's competition. It's capitalism. You know, that's what it's all about. When you don't have capitalism and you don't have competition, what do you get? You get Madden. You get the same thing year after year. It hardly changes. It can be okay sometimes, but for the most part, you're not getting anything revolutionary. And that's the problem when you start taking away competition and you start being buddy-buddy and you start trying to make 2 billion people happy instead of, like, whatever the number is that are just console gamers. And again, just to be clear, I don't care about streaming, right? Like, they can stream on iPads, iPhones, iStations, whatever, right? It's fine. I because they're all going to do that. The only problems that I have is that Microsoft, it seems intent to put their games on, PlayStation and Nintendo platforms, and I do take issue with that. And I'm sorry for anybody that disagrees with me, but competition's a damn good thing. And without that competition, then they're free to do what they want, right? Like Sony. Do we really want Sony to be the ones to decide everything, right? Like, I'm not sure that I want that, and I'm not sure you guys want that either. If you really think about it, I know a lot of you guys are just diehard Xbox fans, and you go, man, I'm really tired of the hate, man. I'm really tired of the Xbox hate. I agree. I think it sucks. I wish, and it's not hate, man. Xbox could easily just, blow my mind at E3 and talk about the console for a change, you know. But I got a feeling that it's going to be gamers everywhere play. We all win. Play, love, love, play. This, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And that's not really, um, you know, sort of what I'm going into or how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I just prefer a certain way, a certain aspect of things. And I know that things change, and I know I'm old guard, and I get that, and I'm fine with that. I get that, as this old guard Xbox guy, maybe my way isn't the best way, or my way isn't the highway, or however you want to think about it. But I still do think that, Microsoft has the perfect chance to capitalize on Sony not being at E3, deliver something epic for the fans for a change, right? Think about it. I don't care how big of an Xbox fan you are. When you think about the numbers, when you think about the games that have been announced and haven't been announced this generation, it's mind-boggling that they have fans at all, right? We have the X, so that's great, but they haven't given us anything really amazing on it yet, specifically for that, right? Or specifically for anything, really. I mean, and that's not really a graphical problem, but I mean, we've gotten some good games and some fun games, but nothing truly amazing. This generation, the exclusives just haven't been there. They just haven't been there, for whatever reason. For the most part, I would say for 4 out of the 6 years of this generation, it's been very lackluster. And that's very unfortunate, because people buy these things for specific type of games. And it's just a fact that Microsoft hasn't had any kind of games that are driving people towards their box, unfortunately. So, again, like, I wasn't feeling too well today, so I stayed home. That's a rare thing for me, to actually stay home from work, because, you don't work, you don't get paid, especially when you work for yourself. kind of got to bust your ass, and so it's unfortunate. But I did think that I would do a cool little video and talk about this. Switch is the best console. Max Gaming says Switch beats Xbox One X. Any dude, it depends on what you're talking about. If you want to say Switch has better exclusives, then yeah, I agree 100%. If you want to say Switch is better as in hardware, I would laugh at that, because the simple fact that Microsoft has the most powerful console in the market, and third-party games do play best there, even if they don't have crap to play exclusively that shows that off. A lot of these third-party games at least take advantage of the platform in a good way. And I'm sort of happy to sort of see that, because that's definitely needed, and Microsoft needs to be able to showcase that to people. Microsoft hasn't really done a good job of that, because they refuse to advertise, right? They're always out there going, hey, well, nobody watches TV anymore, and that's just not true. A lot of people watch TV. There's no coincidence there that people watch TV and they see Spider-Man commercials or God of War commercials, and they buy those games because they look great. When it comes to Xbox, a lot of people don't even know it exists. And I mentioned this before. I have an older brother. You guys know Hellhammer, because he used to do Xbox Nation with me. But I also have an older brother who was an Xbox guy too. He's had an Xbox this whole generation. Very casual type player, right? Very casual type player. He's got a wife and a new baby and stuff like that. But I was talking to him, and he bought a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation VR, and he was like really just enjoying stuff like God of War and Spider-Man and some of the VR stuff that PlayStation offer. And this is, like I said, a very casual person, and he's like, he didn't even know about Crackdown 3 or Game Pass, right? So I was trying to do my usual spiel to my brother, because he's like, when's Microsoft going to come out with some Xbox games? And I was like, well, they have this. Crackdown 3 just came out, and you don't even need to buy it. You can just get Game Pass and play it. And he's like, they came out with the new Crackdown? And I was like, yeah. So people don't even know about half the stuff that's on Xbox. That's, realistically, that's unfortunate, because I do feel like Game Pass is really amazing for a certain type of gamer, him being one of them, because he's super casual. And there's just such a selection and variety in there, and I feel like that's just exactly who they need to be reaching out to, but through advertising. These stuff don't advertise themselves. It really just takes people, Microsoft, going out there and doing a good job of advertising, and so far they just haven't really been able to do that, and it's very unfortunate and sort of very upsetting that they haven't been able to do this. So again, Microsoft, they have a long way to go. They've done a good job with a lot of things. I get the options argument, but if you're smart, you look at the options and you go, well, this is this is an option for now, but they're really trying to wean us off of this and make us more apt to play their stuff without this, right? Eventually, right? So option of crossplay now, then they take away the option part later. Okay, option to get a discless Xbox console now, then they take away the option for the disc later, right? That's the hope. It's just the facts, folks. Hashtag facts. And and I get it that people are gonna probably be a little bit upset because I tend to be a little bit more negative now about Xbox, but hell, somebody has to. I think the money isn't being, I guess, being super positive, because a lot of people are tired of the negativity. And like I said, I do think that that's, there's some merit to that, because the whole reason why I started doing this channel or started doing these videos was because everything was just so negative. But at the same time, is it really doing anybody any favors if I'm just up here lying to you guys and myself like everything's fine and I'm perfectly okay with everything Microsoft's doing? I feel like that's not fine, and I feel like that's exactly what Microsoft needs to avoid. Like, Microsoft needs to have somebody out there as opposition saying, you guys are messing up here, pay attention to us, right? If you're perfectly fine with them ignoring the console itself lately, then I think that's on you, and that's perfectly fine too. But for me personally, I just am not about it. I really wish that they would just kind of listen to us and do a little bit better job of doing that, because we have value too. It's like almost we have no value to them anymore because they want 2 billion gamers, not 40 million gamers, right? And that's really unfortunate for me personally anyway, because I do feel that way, and I do feel a little bit devalued by them. Do I think the Google console will be just a Google version of Apple TV? Well, they brought in Jade Raymond. They're going to have Ubisoft there. I don't think they're going to have a ton of content. I think they're going to have some decent stuff. If they have a hardware, not just a streaming thing, they could be a player. But if they just come out with some streaming crap, they're going to be they'll. This would be my warning to anybody looking to get into that. If they just do a streaming thing and they launch it this year or next year, and they don't have any kind of exclusive content, and they're just putting their hopes on third-party stuff, don't back it. Don't buy it. And the reason why I would say that is Google has a habit of dropping stuff that doesn't prove to be a big success right away. So will they be a player? I hope they bring a traditional console, and I hope they are a player. So Dan Trinidad says, as a PlayStation player, I really hope Xbox makes a comeback next gen. Because of the competitive aspects of gaming, Xbox needs to be better with their global approach. I agree 100%. Do I buy Xbox One S with the disc drive and the ability to play digital games, or do I just buy SAD with only digital games? I would buy an Xbox One S with the disc drive, because that's obviously going to be the better choice in my opinion, because that really is the option, right? That's what's really giving you the option is to do that. So that's the way I would do it. Yeah, Madbox, I'm not sold on that at all. You could take your Switch with you. You can't take Xbox everywhere. Jason B, that's why they're putting their streaming services on everything, my friend. So, yeah. Flipmore 360 says, I love Xbox, but unfortunately, I think Microsoft are killing it by giving all our stuff away. You're not wrong. They're taking away what made it unique. If it's not unique, what is it? It's something everybody can get, and it's watering down the brand. They're watering down the brand. What is Xbox anymore? I don't know. Do you know? I would know. I wouldn't even know how to begin to describe what the hell Xbox is these days, to be honest with you. Here's the best way. Max Gaming says, here's the best way to choose a console. Choose the console your friends have. Well, that's PlayStation, my friend. Next Doc says, Crapgamer, it's really BS that we hardcore fans have been supporting them for 18 plus years. Paying for Xbox Live, didn't complain about the price hike in 13, yet they are catering to people who don't care. Agreed. And once again, one of my main beefs and complaints about this whole messed up situation is they're getting services that are locked behind a paywall for us for free. For free. Yes. If Xbox Live were to go to PlayStation, their services would be for free for them. We're paying this crap. That's the part that pisses me off. We're paying them. They're making all this money off of us, and everybody else is getting the free dividends. They're building games specifically on PC for PC. Whenever they talk, listen to the developers. Look at any of these developer interviews lately, right? Phil Spencer's interview lately have been PC Magazine, PC Gamer, PC Tech, right? The Coalition. They're talking about Gears 5 and PC Magazine. We specifically built Gears of War 5 to run on PC hardware, and it's going to be amazing. And Halo Infinite running specifically on PC hardware to get it up to snuff and blah, blah, blah. And its Slipstream engine is for this and PC. It's like the stuff they talk about is PC, xCloud, xCloud. Like, here we are as console dudes, and we get nothing shown to us, to be honest with you. Honestly, dude. You know, I don't understand it, man. Have we not done a good job of supporting this console that continually takes away things that we used to take for granted, like custom consoles? Now we get custom consoles. They give them away, 2 of them at a time on Twitter. Great. I mean, how amazing is that? And are any kind of collector's edition video games? No. When was the last collector's edition for an Xbox game? Gears 4, 2016? We're in 2019, damn it. How about we get some collector's edition? I so hard up for collector's editions, man. I'm jonesing for a collector's edition that I bought that damn Days Gone game collector's edition because it has a statue. A statue. Damn it. Would it kill Microsoft to put something in there? You know, like, damn, throw us a bone. Throw us, 100 million freaking controllers, Yeah, we got 100 million controllers, but we can't get any custom consoles. No, or you know, or collector's edition or of anything these days, man. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't stand it. You know, a lot of the stuff that we loved about Xbox last gen and the gen before, totally non-existent now. You can't get any of that stuff. They're pushing everything digital. They're pushing everything their way on everything. And I'm just not a fan of it. And I know some people are, you know, you'll unsubscribe or you get pissed off or Crap Gamers lost it, and that's fine, man. I'm not hating on you on anybody. You know, I think everybody's opinion is fine, and I just think I personally would really love to see Microsoft go back a little bit and uh, and support the fans that supported them for so long, because I feel like with the direction they're going in, it's going to confuse so many people. It's going to alienate so many people. It's going to mean less competition. And that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? Because if you look at the best things we've gotten in gaming, it was strictly because of competition. It was strictly because we had this amazing competition between Microsoft and Sony, because Microsoft wanted to beat Sony, and I'm not sure they want to beat Sony anymore. AA batteries. Actually, I like AA batteries, man. I'll tell you why I like the AA batteries, right? First of all, I don't know anybody that really uses the AA battery stuff anymore. Most people just bought a plug and play kit, which I think is cool because you're able to just swap those out. You know, you have a couple of those. Whereas with the PS4 controller or PS3 controller, you had to have multiple controllers and always had to have another one sort of ready to go. Which, by the way, we're closing in on 100 likes. I would really appreciate it if you guys would please get the likes up there. I would appreciate it. Marie Kanker says, never buy collector's edition. They are a waste of money. Well, if you're a collector, my friend, why not buy them? I have a office. I have, when I'm looking up at my collector's edition statues right now, I see, even though this is a terrible game, it was still a kick-ass collector's edition, The Order 1886. I have that one up there. I have Kratos from God of War Ascension. That was a PS3 game. I have that one up there. I have the Kratos and boy statue from God of War this generation. Amazing. I have the Spider-Man statue from that. I've got the Mortal Kombat bookends from last gen from Mortal Kombat for the 360. I've got the Battlefield 1 statue. I've got the Doom statue from this Doom game this generation. Most of the stuff that I have is PlayStation stuff or multi-plat stuff. Because I also, but I don't have it up here because it was too big. I do have the Gears of War 4 motorcycle, which was absolutely amazing. Crap, really? Xbox Live and Game Pass on PlayStation? Is it true? No, listen, Vicky. Microsoft said they want it on PlayStation. Thankfully, I think it looks like Microsoft is not going to be on board, or it seems like Sony's not on board with this. So hopefully that's the case and continues to be the case, going forward, because it really, really cheapens what Xbox is, in my opinion. And, Microsoft needs all the content they can get. They need all the reasons for the content that they can get. And I feel like, they've really kind of just lost a lot of what made them so great, in my opinion. I would love to see Xbox kind of return to being that hardcore box, but they're so preoccupied with, not offending anybody and also putting everything on everything so nobody's left out. They're the Xbox is the participation trophy of gaming, right? No matter what you get an Xbox game, you get an Xbox game, and you get an Xbox game, and we'll put it on your phone, we'll put it on your refrigerator, we'll put it on your toilet if you got a smart toilet. Everybody gets an Xbox game, to the point where Xbox brand is so watered down they don't even realize it, and they're putting out these cheap whack games like this Forza Street game, right? So people are already starting to catch on that Forza Horizon 4, which is a good game, was just another Forza game, just another racing game. And instead of backing off, they are going to put out a really crappy iOS Android version of Forza, and it's going to score incredibly poor, right? So if you look back to what they said about Halo, they were like, we could have did a Halo 5.5 like ODST, but they didn't want to because it saturates the market, one, and it cheapens the game, two, right? You can't do that. And if you want to know why Halo 5 probably didn't do as well as people thought it would do, and I'm going to tell you after I take a sip of my drink, it's because multiple reasons, right? First of all, you had the Master Chief Collection, and it didn't work. So people were pissed off, right? So that came out before Halo 5. People were pissed off, didn't want to buy Halo 5. Sort of like The Last Jedi, right? The Last Jedi. Terrible, terrible Star Wars movie. I did not want to go see a Star Wars movie after I saw that because it was so bad. Some people, boom, really didn't want to buy Halo 5 because they felt screwed over by Master Chief Collection. And I totally get that. Not only that, but you also had a situation where they were having these little iPad games. Remember Spartan Assault and Spartan Ops or whatever the hell it was? So you had this mass influx of Halo, right? And you can't do that. You know, you can't oversaturate. You've got to take a step back. You've got to be able to do what Sony did with God of War, right? God of War took a little hiatus and come back. Now Halo's going to take that. Now they're doing that, right? Halo's taking a hiatus. If you would have came out with the Halo 5.5, I don't know if, you know, it wouldn't have given them time to do what they're doing with this next Halo. And so you've got to learn when to step back and go, okay, well, let's pay attention to what the fans are asking for. Let's kind of pay attention to what, no, Iceman, I'm not drinking that. I'm drinking Diet Dr. Pepper. So let's see. The way they made deals with all the PC makers to have Windows bundled with every PC, they wanted to a monopoly, and that's the same reason they want streaming. They want to be the Netflix of gaming. Yeah, they want to be the Netflix of gaming, but I think that the problem is you got to have exclusive content that people want. You got to drive that, right? When people think Netflix, you probably think Stranger Things. You probably think some of that stuff, right? Because they've got some really good content. If Microsoft's claim to fame for people wanting to buy Game Pass is Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, Recore, you know what I mean? That's not going to get it done. You're going to need those big bangers like Stranger Things. You're going to need something that really impresses the people. Patman Jones, what's up, bro? Sir X-Man says we need Bill Gates back. Take no prisoners. Balmer, man, Balmer was the man that was like, you want to play Xbox or you want to buy, use a Microsoft product, you got to buy a Microsoft product. And that's what we need. You know what I mean? TiVo says they are convinced services is the best way to go. Revenue, all the tech companies are doing it. They believe the hardcore will always remain with them. TiVo, I would agree with you, except for we're looking at Sony doing the same thing, but the difference is they're both going to do streaming, TiVo, but Sony is never going to put their games on Xbox or Nintendo. Where can we ever say that Microsoft doesn't want to put their games on PlayStation or Nintendo? No, we can't say that because they've just said that they want to do that. They just said that they want to do that. You're going to need something that's going to draw people in. Xbox, and again, I reiterate it, I know sales don't technically matter, but you still need to sell something to get people on board, right? And the fact that they were only at 54,000 consoles sold for February is very troubling in my opinion, right? I just really feel like that's a really low number and that Microsoft, you know, I don't think they care. I don't think that means they're going to stop making consoles. That just sucks for those of us that want more competition to be actually competition with the box, right? And what I mean by that is I know somebody like, okay, I'll give you an example. So if you look at what Fortnite just did, they pulled the ability for Nintendo Switch players to be in games with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One owners because poor performance and it was unfair. Obviously, the frame rate was a difference there, right? So that's a smart thing to do. Very smart thing to do. What Microsoft is essentially doing is fracturing their audience and having these games available on a lesser platforms all over. And they're going to be at a disadvantage, but be forced in with multiplayer games with people on a regular Xbox. I don't really want that. I want to play people as legitly and fairly as possible. I don't want to play against people with mouse and keyboard. I do feel like Microsoft is very unclear about their intentions with that. They announced Halo Master Chief Collection, and there isn't a person that I've found yet that can tell me if that game's going to have crossplay between console and PC, or if you're going to be able to turn that off, or what the specifics are. That's the big problem that Microsoft has going forward too, because they don't really stress this enough, right? They don't really stress this. They don't really do a good job of getting people in the know about what's coming. And that's something that really sort of upsets me. You know what I mean? Now, I realize that I'm not everybody, and that everybody might not feel the same way as me. But I think everybody will agree that competition is the best thing going forward. You want competition. You want these companies to be going after each other, and you want these companies to be playing off each other because it gives us better deals. It gives us better, you know, it gives us better incentives to play and buy these things, right? It's something that we have to keep in mind as well. You do need a reason to buy an Xbox. You're still going to have to sell these boxes, right? And like I said, somebody asked me earlier what I thought would be the number of consoles Microsoft sells next gen, and I said between 20 and 25 million. And people probably look at me like, "Are you crazy?" But no, Microsoft doesn't care if you buy their console. A, two, they're spreading themselves incredibly thin across every platform in their mother anyway, so there's less incentive. And three, they haven't proven that they can have software that's compelling enough to make people want to buy a box for them, right? Like, who wants to buy a box for, a 60 Metacritic game? And I know that Metacritic's not be all end all, but a lot of people look to that stuff as a reason why they should get a game or not. And it's one of those situations that gamers really sort of are used to a certain type of thing, and Microsoft has this whole idea in their head. Xbox on other devices is a streaming app. You said it won't be a great experience, so why are you mad? I'm not mad. I don't care about the streaming. I would be mad when we actually lose players because you're going to be able to do that. Sure. I don't think it's going to be a huge number. I just think Xbox is going to be continue to sell less and less and less. But I want to be matched up with people playing Xbox. I don't want to be matched up with people playing on a, Xperia or an iPhone X or whatever. You know what I mean? I want to be matched up. And so I worry that they won't allow me to not do that. Right. So Microsoft's whole idea is they want everybody to play together, and they are more weird about this than any of the third-party developers, right? Look, like I said, Fortnite won't allow Switch players in with console players anymore because it's unfair. Microsoft seems to just want to push this narrative of cross-play on everything, and it doesn't matter. We'll work it out later. And this doesn't work for me, right? Like, it didn't work for me with Sea of Thieves. They made it real confusing, at least to me, to turn it off on Gears. And there might not even be a way to turn it off on Halo, Matt. Like, what can you do? Like, Xbot, I know you worry about crossplay too. Like, do you really want to play Halo Infinite against PC players? And then just like, let's say they go, oh, well, it's unranked, so what's it matter, right? You really want to go in there and get smacked around by somebody with a keyboard and mouse? I know you don't. I know I don't. Like, I think that's something that Microsoft has to pay attention to going forward, and they really need to do a little bit better job of paying attention to the needs of that console gamer, because it seems like they don't care about the needs of the console gamer, which is the whole reason why console gaming is because pretty much everybody had the same thing. We all had the same type of console controllers, TVs. I don't really feel like makes that big of a difference. But now it just seems like we're at a point in time where they don't care. They just want everybody, Sea of Thieves runs on a potato, so let's put it on a potato. That's sort of what I have a problem with. I want to be matched up against specifically Xbox people, and I feel like this cheapens Xbox, and it really makes it less relevant. And I mean, that's just kind of my opinion at the subject. I know everybody won't really exactly believe that. A Nintendo Switch guy says Phil is killing off the console. He's more of a PC guy. So when you got a PC guy running a console, and then he's trying to spread it out to all these different gamers and stuff, that's the thing. Matthew Hardwick says they seem to be more interested in the PC crowd compared to us console folk. Yep, I agree. Mr. Food Moon right there in the chat. He doesn't look like a troll to me. He says, I have a PC. I don't feel the need to own an Xbox now. Why would you? Next Doc says, Crapgamer, why the hell are most Xbox fans openly accepting the catering to everyone else, free for everyone else, but us paying fans? They are planting the seed of transition to no Xbox, cloak and dagger. They are. Mad Gaming says, is PlayStation is a potato, then Xbox is a tomato, or maybe, I don't know, man. 343 hired a guy from Sucker Punch to be a senior graphics person. Yep, I saw that, man. I thought that was cool, man. I think that Microsoft is bringing in some good talent. I just feel like when are we going to get some dividends of that? Is it going to be exclusive that we're going to see some dividends to that? That's sort of what I feel we're kind of having to deal with. I feel like Microsoft, really, I would just like them to throw us a bone as Xbox console owners, and I'll be good. I don't know about Google. It depends on what they do. Bonnie Ross is a PC gamer. First game was, it makes sense. That's all they talk about is PC nowadays. PC and XCloud, you guys. If it ain't PC or XCloud, they don't care about it, man. That's one thing that I do like about Sony, right? Is definitely Sony completely they'll come out with stuff like this like they just came out with, what is this crap that they just came out with, right? They came out with remote play, and they didn't go, wow, let's confuse everybody for months and months about this beforehand and piss people off, and all. They just said, okay, here's an update, here it is, right? That's what's great about what Sony does sometimes, whereas Microsoft would have drugged that out for eight months to a year. They would have given us no information. It would have been broken. It probably would, like, who knows? I think that's the main difference between Microsoft and Sony at this particular time. And I think that that's a little bit unfortunate, because I think that Microsoft does have good ideas. They just really poorly execute them, and they really poorly kind of convey them to the fans, right? Like, if you look at it, can anybody sit there in this chat and tell me I'm wrong with this focus on PC and xCloud, right? Look at the last few Phil Spencer interviews. They've all been PC Magazine interviews or PC related interviews. Look at the interviews for 343 or Coalition talking about Gears or Halo Infinite. They're PC interviews talking about how they're built for the PC from the ground up. You can also very quickly and easily look up, if you watched Inside Xbox, the first thing that they do is PC announcements and xCloud demos, right? They're very quickly forgetting about the console gamers, the people that took them to the dance, the people that made them relevant. And now Xbox is kind of less relevant, and it's a little bit unfortunate going forward, but hopefully they will continue to maybe listen to the fan. I don't know. Some of them do listen to me, but at the same time, I might be the only one banging this drum. I don't know. I don't really take a look around. I can't really afford to do that. But is there any other people saying the same things that I'm doing, that I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I'm the lone guy out here doing this now. I don't know. Because I'm not one of those guys that's, oh, I hate Xbox or anything like that. I'm just one of those guys that's saying I wish that they would go back and do something specifically for us, since we're the ones that brought them here to relevance in the first place, and now they forgot all about us, focusing on this other crap. And that is most unfortunate in my opinion, and the thing that ticks me off the most. TLR9 says, crap, Sony focuses on the console and never really ever mentions PC. Look, Sony could put their games on PC, and they would still call them console exclusives, and they still would be a reason to buy them, and I think that's very smart. So Sony's going to do, let's just say, to kick off the PS5, Sony goes, PlayStation Now is going to have every PlayStation exclusive day and date with it launching, and we're going to do stuff on phones and all this kind of stuff. But that's sort of what they've already been doing, right? Like, not day and date, but they're going to have a service that people are going to flock to much quicker than Microsoft's, because they have proven that they can come out with bangers, and they've proven that they can come out with these games that people really want, and they have software lineup that's like Netflix. They're in a much better position than Microsoft. I know people will not believe me when I say this, or think that I'm hating. I think that Microsoft is better set up to run a service like that, but I think Sony actually has the content to push a service like that. So that's the difference. If they ever do decide to do day and date, they have really one up Microsoft, because Microsoft has not proven that they can that they have the exclusive content that is going to really draw anybody to that particular console or content or service. You've got to have really good stuff there, and Microsoft just really haven't done a good job at that. And again, I feel like that is a little bit unfortunate. And at the same time, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm over exaggerating. I'll be the first to admit I've over exaggerated or overreacted, excuse me, to numerous announcements this generation, not included, which I've apologized for, Game Pass, which I thought devalued the exclusives. But then once I saw how average and kind of mediocre those exclusives were that we were getting at the time, it makes perfect sense why they were doing that. They have a lot to do to prove that they can put quality content in there, and hopefully they actually will do that in the future. But and I apologize, I'm not one of those people that won't say, hey, I was wrong or whatever. I have no problem saying that. When it comes to some of these other things like Play Anywhere, I was pissed off about that. But then when it comes down to it, that really didn't matter. It didn't really stop anything. Nobody was really like, oh man, like nobody's using it. No third parties really jumped on it. You know, uh, even per Microsoft's own situation, they said, hey, nobody that bought the game on a PC ended up playing it on Xbox, and nobody that really bought it on Xbox ended up playing it on PC. So it was really like less than 1% or something like that. So yeah, I get that. So it was really not a big deal. Sometimes you got to learn when not to kind of speak up as well or make a big deal, and I sometimes need to learn that. But at the same time, there's certain instances where I feel like Microsoft really does need to sort of pay attention more to people like me, because I consider myself a very hardcore gamer, and they're very intent on getting these 2 billion gamers or whatever. What they don't realize is there's like these super hardcore guys like me who buy all their consoles multiple times a generation. And, right now I have like 858 games or something like that installed. So would they want somebody like me or lots of people like me, which is like a lot of you guys that are watching right now? Or do they want somebody that's going to play Candy Crush Saga on their phone for 20 minutes for free? Because I'm also paying for Xbox Live, mind you. So not only am I buying their consoles, 800 plus games, and paying for Xbox Live, right? Do they want people like me, or do they want somebody that's just going to, download or stream a game for 20 minutes at a time, a little phone game, right? That's the thing that annoys me, right? Like, that's not where the money is. That's not a hardcore gamer. Sure, you're going to have that person logged in as a monthly active user, but they're not spending money. I'm the one spending money. I'm the one like going broke buying all this crap. That's that's really the situation that I'm in. Oh man, I just saw something that's really cool. Vicky says, crap, is Sony getting next GTA exclusive? No. That was just rumors. Mike, that was like somebody made that rumor up to sort of push the idea so that the stocks would grow. I always said that I didn't believe it, but I thought it would have been a ballsy move, and I also thought that it would have been smart. I also thought that it was funny to see people that were saying, hey, Xbox exclusives don't matter, right? So all of a sudden, to a lot of Xbox fans, exclusives don't matter anymore, right? Oh, it's fine. Their games can be on whatever. That's more money for Xbox, which I totally disagree with that, because that's less competition. That's less innovation. That's less of everything, to be honest with you. So less isn't more and more is more. We need more exclusives from these companies, more reasons to buy their platforms, more innovation. We need all that kind of stuff. So I always said that that's the way it needed to be. But it was funny to me when it was rumored that GTA might be exclusive to PlayStation next gen with this buyout, how fast everybody was like, well, now I have to get a PS5. Damn it. Well, that basically signals what I've been saying. Content drives these things. And even though Phil Spencer could get up there and beat his chest and go, we don't make money off hardware. No, but if you had 100 million Xbox Ones out there like there are PS4s, you'd make a shit ton more money off of software too, because guess what? Hardware lets you play software. And if you're putting out compelling software, then it matters even less, because you can make even more money then. Microsoft has done a really poor job at that, and they've done a really poor job at executing what I consider to be anything in particular with their kind of hardware or whatever. So, while this is pretty cool, some promotional artwork for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 has leaked, apparently. So if you guys know me, man, I'm a big Modern Warfare fan, so that really gets me exciting. Failed Pyromancer says, watching you for the respect you're demanding from your preferred console and keeping it as real as it should be. Great job, Crap. Keep it up. Yeah, look, I get it, man. I'm going to lose subscribers and people be pissed off. I've spent this whole time that I've been on YouTube pissing off one group or another. Sometimes people still watch. Sometimes people don't. It is what it is. I try my best to be as honest and open as I can with you guys, how I feel about it. If you don't feel the same way, then you don't have to watch this particular video, because guess what? If there's a video where Microsoft is knocking it out of the park with something, I'm going to do that video too and be excited about it. If there's a video about the PlayStation 5 that I feel is cool and has me excited, I'm going to do a video about that too. So you guys don't have to worry about that. Like, I tend to sort of do those things that sort of way. It's not like because I'm pissed off about this particular thing that I'm never going to talk good about Xbox. That if you guys look at the channel, it's obviously not. I'm excited about the new hardware from both Microsoft and Sony, and even Nintendo, man. I'm excited about that stuff. And the games, most importantly, are what I'm really excited about. I just think that it's something that Microsoft, I wish, would pay attention to a little bit more. Maybe they hear my voice. AJ Felton says, crap, Shenmue 3. I'm getting Shenmue 3. So, yeah. Eddie T says, at least Modern Warfare 4 will have a campaign. Hell yes. The console war was won against Xbox, and now Sony is going against Nintendo to wreck again. Mad Jack, I wish I could say you're wrong. But yeah, hit the like button. TiVo says hit the like button, people. I would appreciate it if you guys did. I'm kind of pouring out my heart here for you guys. I know, there's a lot of people that'll get up here and bullshit you and tell you why everything's such a good thing. I'm not that guy. There's plenty that will, if that's more your thing, and that's cool. I'm going to keep it real from my point of view, and that's exactly what I'm doing. TLR9 says, I think Sony realizes that there's going to be Xbox fans jumping ship down the road due to this and want that console support exclusivity, and Sony will deliver that. Hell, dude, the Sony guy in Italy was even saying exclusive content's the way to go. If you want to draw in fans and keep your fans happy, you've got to have some kind of exclusive content, and they're really, really doing a good job at that. I think that that's something that they've really kind of knocked out of the park. And Sony, again, they do tend to listen, and there's that payoff for the fans. If you believe in what Sony's offering and you believe in their product, they've really done a good job at paying off your belief in that with great content, right? It might not be right away, but they do eventually get to that point, and they've done a good job at that over the years. And I really do appreciate what that fact of what Sony can do. So I really do think that Sony has that more traditional thing, and they're going to do the streaming thing too. That's inevitable, but they're not going to push their stuff on Xbox, and they're not going to put their stuff on Nintendo. And, they're not going to sit there and pimp out Nintendo and Xbox at every chance they get. That's just the facts, man. They're not going to do it. Let me see what else we got in the chat here. Mad Jack says he always likes it. AJ Felton says, crap, you're turning heel. Just kidding. Way to keep. Dude, look, I could sit there and just BS everybody and be like, this is a great thing. But deep down, I'd be gritting my teeth, and it would come across as super fake because I don't feel that way, right? So, like, you could tell fakeness from realness. And for me, people can see that I have a love of Xbox, and I just hate the way that they're sort of going right now. I like more tradition. You can still do the streaming stuff. Sony did that at the beginning of the generation, but it doesn't have to be the focal point. PC doesn't have to be the focal point. Give us console guys something, Let's see here. Obviously, they want filthy casuals buying a bunch of microtransactions while only playing 30 minutes over us hardcore gamers who buy consoles, support exclusives, and buy loads of games. Hey, I can't argue that, man. I can't argue that. It seems like they want that. The rise and fall of Sega says Xbox will be awesome on Switch. I don't know if you're going to get a native game, if they're going to do that on Switch, because, like I said, the whole idea and point of that would be to have those games on the go, and Switch doesn't have a third-party carrier, so it'd be very difficult for them to actually do that and sort of, kind of do that. I don't know. The Punisher says, crap, Halo 6 might be a PC exclusive and Scalebound might be a Switch exclusive. No, Halo Infinite has already been announced as Xbox One. So, yeah, I don't know what the deal is. You a wrestling fan who gets cheered the most, babyface or heel? Fans want hardcore stuff, period. Exactly, man. You gotta do it, man. Nintendo Switch guy says, I'm 46 and I've been gaming longer than crap has been alive. Yeah, I mean, I've been gaming since 1986 or something like that. So, I mean, I've been gaming a good long time. Over 30 years. So, what do you think of Google next generation? They come with 2 consoles as far as I can follow. If they come out with a traditional piece of hardware and they have some exclusive content, I might be into it. Why not? If they come out with a streaming service only and they have no exclusive content, then I don't feel a need to go out there and buy that. That's just pretty much how I feel about it. So, yeah, I don't know if they can actually make an impact. Maybe there's going to be like that Amazon Cloud Box or whatever it is. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna watch WrestleMania. I watch that every year. I'm not as excited about this WrestleMania. Like, my favorite wrestler currently is Braun Strowman, and they kind of got him stuck in this little weird situation where he's just like doing comedic stuff. Because I feel like he should have been the one to beat uh, Lesnar, and he would have been there with the belt week in, week out, and you'd have somebody there. I feel like that belt that Lesnar has and shows up once every 6 months is ridiculous. Strowman could have been that guy. He could have been the guy, and he had a huge push, and then they kind of ruined it. So, let's see. I think this E3 will be the crossroads for Xbox. They will either prove to us hardcore that they are listening, or they will lose the golden goose trying to catch an egg. Hey, I can't put it any better than that, my friend. That's exactly what I think too. So, Switch online via 4G mobile hotspot works very well. Yeah, but again, the whole idea is on the go, right? Like on the go, and the Switch Wi-Fi isn't that great. So let's see, Crapgamer, do you think the hardcore gamers are decreasing? I mean, people like Salty and Lady Fox weren't as passionate as you to keep exclusive. They were more the opposite. I think it really just comes down to opinion, right? So technically, you're still going to be able to play your Gears on there, but there's going to be less people to play against. And I feel like less native people on the console, natively on the console is a bad thing, right? Like, they might feel differently especially if you're really hardcore into it, if you're getting matched up or you're forced to get matched up with PC or mobile people. And I think that's not going to be fun for any side. Don't mess with me, brother. You've been killing me with the Fable 4 talk. Do you truly believe that Playground Second Studio is working on Fable? And do you believe it'll be at E3? I do believe we'll see something from Fable. And not only that, it was not just me that has this Fable stuff. I mean, like Rand Outdoor will tell you too, and some of these, and Jez Gordon will probably tell you the same thing. Eurogamer also leaked it that's what they're working on. It wasn't always going to be Fable. Playground Games was working on their own open world RPG. Nobody wanted to publish it or fund it. And this was before Microsoft was going to buy them. And Phil was like, well, if you make it Fable, we'll do it. And so that sort of sparked that whole situation. So JD Gamer says, I don't want Google to do gaming. They honestly suck worse than Microsoft when it comes properly supporting their stuff. Remember Google Glass? Yeah, exactly my point. I said, if they only come out with the streaming thing and no exclusives, I would not support that thing at all if I were you guys, just because they have a habit of dropping things very fast. And that's something that isn't good for the industry, I don't believe. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would think that Microsoft knows a little bit better than that, and hopefully they continue to do something different than Google, right? Because I'm not so sure that Microsoft really wants to, how long will they stay involved if if things start to fall apart there? So let's see here. What else do we got here? Gonna answer some more questions. Do I have Rob the Robot? Yes, I do. Are you going to buy the Atari? The Atari VCS thing is just isn't it just like a emulator type deal? Sega and Google team up. Here's the thing, Iceman. Sega's mediocre. What has Sega done? Sega is the Xbox of tomorrow. Think of what I mean. Think long and hard what I mean when I say that. Sega lost their hardcore fans, right, by spreading themselves too thin. Next thing you know, their hardcore fans abandon them, and then they're making mediocre multiplats. Sound familiar? Microsoft expanding too much, not really paying attention to the hardcore fans, kind of ignoring us, water down their own product. We'll see what happens. Sort of going in a third-party direction. Next thing you know, Gears 8 is on everything, and it's lame, so. Sega published a bunch of bad multiplats. That's true. We are Attitude Era games, bro. Phil is leading the PG era of gaming. Younger gamers just don't understand how great gaming was in the 6th gen. Cosmetics used to be unlocked via gameplay. Not only did cosmetics used to be locked in through gameplay, the first ever DLCs were free. It's ridiculous to think that we got to pay for this, pay for online gaming. We're the only suckers, right? Like, if you're a hardcore Xbox fan that disagrees with what I'm saying right here, you don't think first of all, you're disagreeing that competition is good. You're disagreeing that content pushes innovation and competition. You're also disagreeing that that we're getting screwed as gamers because we're the only ones paying $60 a year for online. And I don't think I don't think people realize that. It's like people are cheering on Microsoft's ascension to a third-party developer, and I don't like that, man. Maybe you want Microsoft to be a third-party developer. I don't want them to be a third-party developer. They're losing that special thing about them that made them special to begin with, and for what? So that they can have somebody stream Forza poorly to a phone with a controller. Nobody's going to carry a freaking controller around with them. I don't care who you are. Nobody's going to go out in public carrying an Xbox controller with a little adapter dealy and hook it up there. And if they do, their battery's going to last like an hour tops. So it's not even going to be a big deal. I think it's going to not do well. I don't want it to fail, but I just don't see it doing extremely well. Huge problem. Warlock says if Xbox only sells 20 million consoles next gen, they risk losing third-party support. They won't lose it because people will still want to support their cloud streaming initiative or whatever. I don't know. Crapgamer, Sega has the knowledge and the technology, and Google has the financial power and contacts. Shouldn't Microsoft and Sony be worried? No, because Sega doesn't have any good games anymore. And the Sega of old is not the Sega of new. So, PS4 sold 100 million. How much is Xbone at? I don't know, man. What is it, 35, 40 million? Whatever they say it's at these days. Let's see. Xbox fanny packs, though. Fashion's big business. Hey, man, I don't think they sell fanny packs in my size, but even if they did, man, I'm not going to be wearing a fanny pack with a controller in it. I'm not going to be wearing a onesie anytime soon either. So get that out of your head. Not going to happen. Sega of new is basically just Atlas now. Yeah, I think it's like Sammy owns Sega or whatever it is. They're like something. No, man, Xbox One by all accounts is between 35 and 40 million or 42 million, whatever it is. Well below what Sony's at. They're not doing extremely well. Let's see. Any other questions? I'd be happy to. Sega's a sad shell of its former self. Oh, exactly, man. Hey, please hit that like button, guys. We've had like 300 consistently. Only 113 likes, man. I really appreciate it. Maybe we get 150 before I end this. I'm going to answer some more questions, though, and hopefully you guys kind of enjoy what's going on. Enjoy the show. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying it. I enjoy doing these little like one-off shows. I have a lot of fun. Just kind of shooting a breeze. I feel like I can kind of get my point across a little bit more and respond to your questions live. That's always like an easier thing for me to do. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed that as well. Let's see. You will not only need a fanny pack for the controller, you need a backpack full of batteries as well. True that. This is a bad decision that Microsoft reaching $2 billion would take an Xbox Live as other system like the Switch or PlayStation. I still have my Dreamcast, Xbox stand. Let's see, PlayStation get away for PS4. Hey, I hope they do bring that IP back. It was a really good IP. Let's see. Why should I stay with Xbox in the next gen? Jay Purr. That's a good question, man. I guess if you're for next gen, I would say you want to play multiplats the best on a console and you're a console only gamer. If you're like a PC gamer, then I got nothing for you, guy. Yeah, absolutely nothing for you. Preach. Unchecked Sony is scary. We see their arrogance and the lack of good games at the beginning of the 7th gen. PS4 is where they are because of the 360. Yep. Most of the I would say a good portion of the PS4 owners are former 360 owners who felt jilted by Microsoft's direction of going casual with Kinect and forcing that on you, a less powerful console, always online, all that kind of stuff, no used games. You can't betray the audience that took you there and just do whatever you want. That's not hashtag courage. That's hashtag foolish. So, if you want to play everything, buy every console. I agree, man. That's what it's all about, man. If I want to buy, if I want to drive a Camaro, I got to buy a Camaro. I can't go into a Ford dealership and buy a Camaro. Anyone calling Xbox One a failure, it better be calling the SNES a failure. The X1 will sell over 15. Well, I think the X1, I mean, will they ever announce the actual numbers? I doubt it. But unless they pick up tremendously, I don't know if they'll beat 50 million units. But I think the PS4 will probably end up topping out at 115, 120 million, something like that. For some reason, I mean, look, you know what the PS4 sells? One, RE Red MC. You can send me a game code through Twitter, MOH Space Crap Gamer. I linked it below, or Xbox Live, MOH Space Crap Gamer. Which, yeah, if anybody wants to send me a copy of the Division 2, man, I'd be grateful because I want to play that game, but I am broke as a joke, man. Just saving up for the for a wedding and stuff like that really kind of put the hampering on that. Let's see, tasting greatness. Hey, man, I played PlayStation 4 throughout the generation, man. I've always look at the reviews I've given PlayStation games. Until Dawn, I loved it. Ratchet and Clank, that remake, I loved it. Uncharted 4, I had some issues with it, but I still loved it. Detroit Become Human, amazing. God of War, probably the best game of the generation, single player wise. That and Red Dead 2. Spider-Man, I didn't hate it. Wasn't for me particularly, but I thought it was a solid game. The other games that they have coming out look like they're great. Days Gone looks better and better. People love Bloodborne. Realistically, they've been just coming out with the much better games than Microsoft, and that's interesting. Black Rose Panther says no used games. What are you talking about? Okay, so listen, it wasn't like if you go back to the original Xbox One idea, that was what everybody was upset about, that you weren't able to share your used games, which is true, right? You couldn't just take your game and give it to your friend and let them play it. It didn't work that way. Like you had to take it to a store and they had to wipe it or something like that. It was like some kind of complicated thing, right? Because you didn't need the disc to play the game. Once you installed it, you didn't need the disc, and they didn't want people just installing the game and then selling the disc, right? So you had to take it into a store, basically essentially meaning you couldn't share your games and stuff like that. So that was something that people had a problem with. That's why Xbox One really failed at the beginning. So yeah, Sully. Oh, he says, I hope you get the Division 2 crap. I couldn't afford the Baller Edition. Just started the Standard Edition playthrough. Yeah, I'm not mooch, man. I wasn't able to mooch the freaking $100 edition either, but I would love to get that game, man. Just, times are tight, man. I'm not too proud to admit that. I got a lot of stuff on my plate. So, it just kind of is what it is. Xbox is part of the vision. Here's the thing. The rise and fall of Sega, he says, Phil is a Microsoft guy. Xbox is part of the vision of Microsoft. The problem is Xbox isn't what we think of as Xbox as a console anymore. Xbox is something else to them now. So, that's exactly what it is. Why do Sony fanboys keep talking about sales? Do sales make my... No, that's true, right? Like, even if the PlayStation sells 500 million consoles and Xbox One only sells 5 million... that doesn't diminish the fun you can have with it. Like, I love the Xbox One X. I couldn't imagine playing like the multiplats and stuff on the PS4. So I get that much of it and it's still fun. I just want them to just acknowledge us a little bit more, folks. That's all it comes down to, right? Stop talking about PlayStation and Nintendo and how you want to put Xbox on those platforms. Honestly, that's such a small piece of the pie. Why even bring it up? It just pisses off your hardcore fan base for the most part. That competition is needed. When you say stuff like, hey, we wouldn't mind it going on PlayStation and Switch, that's basically saying we give up, we give in, they're better than us. If you can't beat them, join them. And I think that's bullcrap. You got to have competition. That competition is what makes everything go around. And, that's the important part to me anyway. So going forward, I hope that they continue to innovate and sort of do that for the fans, just in my opinion, you know what I mean? Just in my opinion, I would love to see that sort of thing happen. And I would really, really love to see that sort of come about at the end of the day. Microsoft just listen to me, Mikey Barrow, somebody, pay attention to some console guys, right? Pay attention to some of the console guys. We're here. We exist. Dual purpose as Microsoft is partnering with Hefty to market the May Xbox release. Don't get a disc-based console, get sad. I get it, dude. I think that would be funny. Simon Brayak says, I don't fully understand the argument, crap. When they're talking about having their games on every platform, they mean via streaming. Even if it was just via streaming, which they're talking about, no, they want games and live on PlayStation and Switch. Doesn't that diminish the reason even more so to get an Xbox? Like, I don't care about if it's streaming or not. Eventually, it will probably only streaming anyway. So if they have their stuff on other platforms already, they're just getting you prepared for there not to be an Xbox console anymore. They want people to, I guess, in my opinion, transitioning slightly towards PC or streaming, digital. They're doing everything they can to save money and to take away options. It seems like they're giving us options, but they're really taking away options. Like if you ever seen the movie It's a Wonderful Life, and George Bailey says he's talking about Potter. He goes, he isn't selling, he's buying. He's basically, that's what they're doing. Like Microsoft is basically sort of screwing everybody, and people have this veil over their head that they just don't see it. You know what I mean? They don't really see it, and that's really kind of unfortunate. So I get the streaming sucks and it's not good, and I don't think it's going to be good. But my fear is by the time people realize this and Microsoft realizes this, that they're not going to be able to come back from it, right? They've already alienated gamers, right? You've already got, trust me, I get a message. I know you guys don't believe this. I get messages every day from people going, keep doing what you're doing, crap. You're right. I'm looking more and more at PlayStation next gen, and that's just right. You know what I mean? That's just what the Punisher says. The phrase Xbox has no games. So what are my thoughts on that? Here's my thoughts, right? Xbox has games. If you were to say they don't have exclusives or they lack exclusives, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. They still have what I know consider console exclusives at this time. They did just release Crackdown 3, Ori 2, Gears will come out this year, so they still got some console exclusives coming out. I have over 800 games on my console, so for you to just literally say Xbox has no games, I say that's wrong and not true. But they do have less quality content in terms of console exclusives. I believe that this gen is the worst gen to date. We did get some great games, but content is slow due to games as a service. One game by Rockstar, one Halo, one Uncharted. It sucks. 6 and 7. Yes, 360 was my gen of choice. We got 4 Gears of War games. What was it? 4 Halo games, 3 Mass Effect games. How many Call of Duty games? I mean, we still get the same amount of Call of Duty games, but they were better back then, in my opinion. So we had that going for us. Forza games pretty much on par, but we got other stuff. We got really good stuff. We got Alan Wake. We got what was that, 99 Nights or whatever it was. We got so many damn games, man. It was crazy. We got stuff from Rare. We got, everybody was throwing out some really good stuff. And now it's like we're getting next to nothing. And people are happy about a 9-year-old remaster that we are forced to buy again, by the way. Hey, here's Halo Reach. Buy it again, right? Great. So, let's see. Sony does the same thing with streaming. They will, Simon. They will. Sony's going to stream. I've been saying this, but they're not going to put their streaming service on Xbox or Nintendo, right? They're not going to hype up the competition. You need competition. That's, yes, exactly. 2 Worlds, 2 Human. We got Blue Dragon. We got Lost Odyssey. We had so many damn games. It was unbelievable. And now we get next to nothing, and people are excited about a 9-year-old remaster of a Halo game that we have to pay for, even though it's included in the Master Chief Collection. Crap, how do you feel about people calling us fanboys for demanding quality exclusives, free Xbox Live online multiplayer? Dude, this world is going to be full of people that will try to chastise you for being a free thinker. And even if you're wrong, even if I'm wrong, right, I will never apologize for being a free thinker and having my own opinions and going against the grain. And neither should you, So with that being said, man, I would appreciate you guys liking the video. I appreciate you guys coming out here for an impromptu video. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, give us free Xbox Live. Why should everybody else get the perks that we have to pay for? Make us something exclusive. Make us some content that really sells us on Xbox for the future. Talk about the console. Acknowledge us in some way. Blow us away with some amazing games. Keep them off PlayStation and Nintendo, man. That's basically it, man. So with that, man, I really appreciate you guys coming out, like, share, all that kind of stuff. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you guys tonight on Crossfire. And I'll catch you guys later. Rack them up. Peace.